This is kind of like tough love right now. If you were my daughter, I would be telling you everything that you are, don't ever let a man take that from you, ever.
I really am hoping that Greg and I can work through this, but right now we're totally at a standstill.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 9, Episode 16. And before we get into it, let me say, Keiarna, if you do not leave that man, then I know something. Because there is no way you are begging Greg to show you affection, attention, and he's just sitting there being more and more dismissive. No, ma'am. That man does not like you. He treats you poorly. Every time you bring his name up, you're in tears. What does that say? And also, Keiarna, if you're already struggling and you guys aren't even married, you're not even engaged, don't you think that it's gonna get worse if the relationship does progress? This is not your man. And I know that you want to stick beside him, but girl, this ain't it. And it pains us every week to see you distraught and distressed over this man who does not deserve you in the first place. Now, Miss Karen, the grande dame, I have some choice words for you because you tried it. You were whining in this episode about Stacey not having your back. I said, stop. You're the wrong person to ask for anybody's loyalty. But y'all, it was a cute episode. I have quite a bit to say. And without further ado, let's just get right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. So we open up this episode right where we left things off last week with everybody at Ashley's Drag King show, and we see the rest of the ladies outside with Karen and Mia going at it because Karen has just called Mia out for being a liar. So Karen clocks Mia and she says, Mia, you've known for quite some time that that was G's baby the whole time. So of course Mia gives this weird explanation and she says, well, he might have found out sooner, but I just found out a week ago. Now we all know that Mia is a pathological liar. She lies just like the sky is blue. So I don't believe a word about, oh, well, I just found out a week ago. No, you didn't. You found out immediately, you sat on that information, and you would have sat on it even longer had Karen not called you out. So Mia and Karen are going back and forth, and then Mia says, you know what, Karen, I don't have to prove myself to you. And I said, sorry, but that's not going to cut it. When you bring your drama and your mess to the group voluntarily, when they find out that you've been lying, they have every right to call you out. Don't act like they were prying into your personal life and they're asking you to prove yourself. That's not what this is, and you know it. So now we cut to Stacey's confessional, and Stacey says, for Karen to ambush Mia like this at Ashley's event, it's inappropriate, it's mean-spirited, and it's not what friends do because it's not right. Now, Stacey, I think it's funny that you feel so strongly about this because let's not forget that earlier in the season, Mia was shading you. Mia was calling you all types of boring, stiff. That was low-key a dog whistle to let production know that you should be fired after this season. I'm just saying, Stacey, if I were you, I would just sit this one out because at the end of the day, Mia is a liar. But Mia does throw some shade about Karen's DUIs, and Karen says, look, girl, you can come for my character all day. I stand in it, but you're a liar. It is what it is. So now Keiarna is like, you know, Mia, this is too much. I don't even want to hear this anymore. And she's like, you know what? I'm going inside. So they all follow suit. They all go back inside. And Mia is pissed. Now, mind you, the show hasn't started yet. So we do see Ashley backstage with King Molasses. So I have to say, Ashley as a drag king, it was giving. She had the suit on. The hair was slicked back. She had this beard. I said, okay, Ashley. And since we're on the topic of beards, today's recap is sponsored by Manscaped. The brand trusted by over 11 million men worldwide for their face and body trimmers, hygiene essentials, and premium boxers. If so many men swear by them, you can bet your Valentine will too. The countdown to Valentine's Day is ticking down faster than store-slash prices on chocolate, February 15th, and this time around, we're raising the bar. We've all watched our partners try for that rom-com leading man charm, only to land in scruffy sidekick territory. Not this year. we're treating them to the VIP experience. Meet the Handyman Rocket Man special edition from Manscaped, a sleek, compact face grooming essential that guarantees your partner's face is on track for heartthrob status all year long. Now available in the special edition Rocket Man colorway, featuring gold and black. Just a quick PSA though, there are limited quantities available in this colorway, so you'll need to act fast. You can use my code BrookeAshley for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. The Handyman is a sleek, powerful, compact face shaver that helps guys ditch the mess. Cordless and designed for convenience, it easily fits in a bathroom drawer or slips into an overnight or gym bag for easy grooming on the go. And with up to 60 minutes of runtime per charge, he won't be scrambling to finish before the battery dies. And if the battery level does start to drop, the indicator light will give him the nudge to recharge. The Handyman is also airplane friendly and the ideal travel companion for your adventurous partner. Whether your guy is a grooming newbie or a seasoned pro, the Handyman in the special edition Rocket Man colorway is the perfect upgrade to his grooming regimen, and just in time to make this Valentine's Day extra special. Manscaped has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try risk-free. Give him the gift of grooming this Valentine's Day. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code BrookeAshley at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code BrookeAshley at manscaped.com. So now we see all the ladies by the bar, and we have Mia and Stacey off to the side, and Mia's venting about what just took place a few minutes ago outside. So Mia says, I don't need anybody around me who's going to question my life and not support me. And I said, Mia, I speak for everybody, but we no longer care about this storyline. We stopped caring 10 episodes ago, and you don't have the right to feel like people are in your business and questioning you when you brought this to the group. So Stacey actually co-signs what Mia's saying, and she says, yeah, I don't understand why Karen would choose this night to bring this all up. So then she says, Mia, you need to clarify things because everybody thinks that you're a liar. And I said, even if Mia were to clarify anything tonight, we still think that she's a liar. That's not changing. I'm like, Stacey, girl, bless your heart, but don't get it twisted. Mia clearing up anything is not changing our opinion over here. So Miss Karen, here's where I need to whack you, because Karen is standing next to Stacey and Mia, so she can hear what they're saying. So we cut to Karen's confessional, and she says, you know, one thing about me, I'm a quick study of the room, and I see that Stacey is not supporting me. So then she goes on to say, she's not even telling Mia to say, stop, don't say that about Karen, and I'm not a jealous woman, but I am confused as to what Mia has on Stacey for her to gravitate towards her and not me. Now, Karen, for all of us who have watched this show since the beginning, you have made it clear that you refuse to pick sides when folks go at it. The audacity of you to be angry at how Stacey doesn't have your back when you have failed to have anybody's back throughout the seasons. Let's go down the list, shall we? In season 5, when old girl, I won't even say her name, you guys know how I feel about her, but when she assaulted Candace in season 5, you played the middle. You said, oh, you guys are both at fault and I don't want to get in the middle of things. You even went to HR to try and get Candace fired. Season 6, when Mia and Candace got into it, you also played the middle. Season 7, when Mia assaulted Wendy in Miami, you had the nerve to twist your mouth and say that they were both at fault. Wendy did not do anything to Mia. That was 100% Mia's fault. But because Mia is on your ass, now you want everybody to rally around you and have your back? No, ma'am. And I don't even care that you brought Stacey on the show. At the end of the day, you're getting what you've been putting out. You do not stand by anybody's side. You have nobody's back. It's all about you. So I don't feel like you have the right to be angry about Stacey not being on your side because, like I said, you've never had anybody's back. So now Wendy joins in on Mia and Stacey's conversation, and Wendy's like, Stacey, I'm confused. Whose side are you on? Because I don't know what side you're standing on. So Stacey says, look, When it comes to children, you address the mother, but you don't bring it in front of the group, and I'm sorry, I stand on that. So the show's about to start, and we see Jazzy arrive, and Giselle's friend, Kate Chastain, there. Now, we know Kate from Below Deck. She was also on the first season of Traitors and the last season of Traitors. She also was on that show with Giselle and Portia. It was like the Bravo chat room. It was a cute half-hour show during COVID, but she's there to support and also to get some screen time on another show. So Ashley's new love interest arrives. We all know Josh. They've been seeing each other now for like a month. And did anybody else feel like Giselle was overstepping when she introduced Josh to Ashley's family? I was like, Giselle, please calm down. That's not really your place to do that. That's Ashley's guy. Let her make the introductions. Maybe I'm reading too deeply into it, but I felt like, let Ashley do that. That's not your place. So it's time for the show to begin. We see all the drag queens and drag kings come out. The ladies have wands. They're making it rain. And now it is time for Ashley's drag king debut. So Ash T.O.P. comes out. And I said, Ashley, what are these dance moves, girl? Because I was like, damn, no rhythm. But Ashley's drag king persona had all the girls excited because you have Stacey saying, oh my gosh, Ashley is cute as a man. Then you have Giselle saying, oh yeah, like, I'm attracted to Ash T.O.P. And even Karen was shook. She was like, yeah, she is sexy. So now we see Ashley pull Karen up on stage with her. So she's dancing all over Karen. Karen's getting into it. So now we have Ashley take off her blazer and we just see her suspenders and her pasties on.
I wanna see you work it. Big moves on the circuit. Yeah, everybody know that you're perfect. Work it. Right up when you twerk it. Girl, you're perfect.
I could not stop laughing because her uncle's face was like, why am I here? And I know I get on Sheila, Ashley's mom, but one thing about it, I love a supportive mom. She was getting all the way into it. She was throwing them dollar bills, honey. I said, look at that. I said, Miss Sheila is just happy to be out with the people, honey, with a free drink in hand, some camera time. She's good. But Ashley's drag king performance was cute, but I have to say, they could have just shown us the performance in the last episode. I don't feel like we needed to wait a whole week to see this because not a whole lot happened. So the show is over and we cut to Ashley's confessional and she says, I feel amazing. I've always wanted to pay homage to my bisexuality. And I saw a few people on social media confused. They had no idea that Ashley was bisexual. And Ashley shared that at the season 1 reunion. Since the beginning, Ashley has been very open about how she's bisexual. She had revealed that she had a girlfriend of 5 years before she got with Michael. But Ashley, it's no shade. I feel like you did this drag king performance for a storyline. Just my humble opinion. Because if you didn't have this, you would have had absolutely nothing to give us this season. So everybody's hugging Ashley. We see Josh give her a big hug and kiss. And Ashley says that Josh gets major points for coming to see her. And you have Ashley talking about, oh, Josh, you want to feel my... And I was like, Ashley, the performance is over. Now, one thing about it, Ashley is always ready for some mess because she's like, well, I was getting ready backstage. What went down? So Wendy catches Ashley up and she's like, basically, Gordon let Ray know that everything that Mia's been telling us has been a lie. G did a DNA test and turns out that the baby is his son. So Ashley's like, bitch, are you lying to me? Are you serious? So you're telling me that he's not crazy? He's not having episodes every 5 minutes? We're being lied to? So she's like, this all went down as I was getting ready for the drag king performance. And they're like, yeah, pretty much. So now we jump on over to Giselle, Karen, Ashley, and Keiarna meeting up for lunch. So they all sit down, place their orders, and Karen starts talking about Ashley's performance the other night, and she says, that was a late night for me. So now she brings up how Mia was defaming her character all night long, but that's to be expected. So Karen continues on and says that all Mia does is lie about her life, and then she brings up how Mia knew the whole time on the trip that she knew that Jeremiah was Gordon's and she didn't tell them. Then she goes on to ask, don't you think that that's important to share? And Ashley's like, oh, absolutely, because she brought this drama to us. So now Giselle jumps in and says, when I first met Mia, I was totally bamboozled by her stories, but now my eyes are wide open. And I said, now Giselle, let me just stop for a minute and get you together. Because how dare you say that you were bamboozled? You knew from the beginning that Mia was a liar, but you didn't care about Mia's actions because they didn't affect you. And on top of that, Mia was going after people that you hated in this group, i.e. Candace and Wendy. But when Mia turned around this season and called your girls out of their names, that's when you were like, oh damn, what's that old saying? Ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun? That's exactly what that is. But miss me with all that talk about, oh, I was bamboozled. No, you weren't. You knew who she was from the beginning, but you chose to turn a blind eye, and here we are now. So Giselle's like, well, anyway, enough about Mia. Let's talk about something else. And now Keiarna jumps in, and she says, I have to say, ladies, I'm happy to have a minute to spend time with you guys because I had a rough morning. So they're like, wait, what happened? Are you okay? And Keiarna shares that her and Greg got into a really heated argument and she's still upset about it. So immediately Keiarna is crying. Karen starts hugging her. She's like, girl, let it out. We're all here for you. We all know what you're going through. Like, it's okay. Keiarna, like I said at the top of this recap, don't you think that it's a warning sign that every time you speak about this man, you are in tears? You don't feel like your body is telling you that this man is not for you? You have yet to share a happy story about you and Greg. So Keiarna shares that on top of them trying to navigate living together, the show is putting pressure on their relationship because Greg does not support her being in this group and being on this show. Now, Giselle, this is one of the rare times where you gave some amazing advice and it was coming from a genuine place. Giselle says, Keiarna, you never want to be with a man who's supposed to be your supporter and he's not capable of doing that. You never want to dim your own light. And Giselle is 110% correct. Anybody, lover, friend, family member, acquaintance, whoever, anybody who requires you to dim your light because they feel small around you and they want to make you feel like you're nothing, that is jealousy. And y'all know that I talk about jealousy constantly because people out here are diabolical and jealousy is nothing to play with. And I know I speak about jealousy in friendships and cutting people off, but there is nothing worse as a successful, accomplished woman and a man that you lay down with is jealous of you. A jealous man will make your life hell. And I feel like Greg is trying to dim her light because he knows deep down inside that Keiarna is too good for him. So he wants to break her down, make her feel like she's nothing, so that way she won't leave him. And even Karen clocked it when she said the fact that Greg makes her feel so small, that's a red flag, and it is a red flag. You are a beautiful woman. You can do so much better. Greg not supporting you and even standing 10 toes down and not supporting you, that is not a man that you need to be trying to build a life with. So Keiarna's still crying and she's like, you know, I hear you, but we're at a standstill right now. And Giselle says, look, if you were my daughter, I would tell you the essence of who you are, your whole being, never let a man take that away. And I said, Keiarna, pack your bags up and get out of there. I really wish that Keiarna never moved in with this man. And I especially wish that she was not building a house with this man. Because now you have yourself in this dilemma where you feel like you have to make things work. This Mia and Ink scene, no ma'am, we're skipping right on by. So now we jump on over to Stacey and she's at the Humane Rescue Alliance and she says that from the time she was little, she's always loved animals. So now we find out that Stacey's actually an ambassador for the Humane Rescue Alliance, and she says they're a wonderful organization that pairs families with pets up for adoption. So now we also learn that she's going to be the MC of their charity fashion show. And the cool part is they're going to be walking the runway with the animals. So now Ashley arrives and she meets the dog that she is going to be walking down the runway with. So now we cut to Stacey's confessional and she says that Ashley and her have come a very long way. And on top of that, they have a lot in common. They're both going through public divorces and she considers Ashley a true friend. Now, Stacey, I'm pretty sure that you have watched prior seasons. I don't know about calling Ashley Darby a close friend, because if you do come back next season and Ashley comes back next season, be clear that Ashley will be throwing you under the bus next. But they're making small talk about the fashion show. Stacey says that she's inviting all the women in the group to participate. And now Stacey brings up how she just got out of her second mediation and she says we have one more to go and then that's a wrap. So now Ashley brings up her divorce proceedings and she says right now we're at a stalemate due to Michael wanting that confidentiality clause. We can't seem to agree on that. And then she says that if they don't hear anything from Michael's lawyer next week, they're going to have to go ahead and put out a public claim. So Ashley explains what that is, and she says that's when you have to tell the public why you got divorced. So then she says we can either do a vanilla one or a spicy one. But if we go the aggressive route, that could potentially damage both me and Michael's reputations. So then she says, honestly, I just want to be free from all this. I want to start that new chapter of my life. Now, Ashley, I don't want to hear that because you could have been divorced a long time ago. I don't really want to hear about how you just want to be free, because you've been going back and forth about, do you want to divorce this man or not? So now Stacey jumps in and she says, girl, I feel the same exact way. That's why I waived my right to child support. So Ashley's like, wait, come again? You did what? So Stacey says, I just don't feel like there's a need for that. And Ashley's like, well, what if he gets remarried? And Stacey says, well, even if he does get remarried, Arabella will always be our daughter. So Ashley says, now, girl, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but that does not sound right to me. I don't think that that's the best move. Then she says, Stacey, just think about your future, because I don't want you to sign on the dotted line and then it's like it's too late to change your mind. So now Ashley says, as far as I know, Stacey is unemployed, so I'm not understanding why she's waiving child support. Then Ashley says, when you're divorcing somebody, you see a different side of them. And because of that, you need to anticipate their next moves so that way you're not left holding the bag at the end. Now, Ashley, when you're right, because Stacey is playing a very stupid game and this man can easily switch up on her like that. And I mentioned this in the last recap, but I'm really confused. Every time Stacey says my marriage, I'm like, girl, you guys are getting divorced. Why do you keep saying my marriage? Your marriage is over. A lot of y'all feel the same way that I do, that Stacey might want her soon-to-be ex-husband back. And she's in denial about this happening because she keeps saying, my husband, my marriage. And it's like, girl, that's your ex. And this marriage is going to be dissolved real soon. I don't know. But when it comes to Stacey, something in the milk ain't clean. And I feel like we are all being played between the TJ storyline, this divorce storyline. Something's not adding up. Now, I'm not going to hold you guys, but this scene with Keiarna and Greg out on a date night, absolutely the F not. When they were in the car on their way to the restaurant, Keiarna looked nervous in that passenger seat. She's talking incessantly. Greg is already annoyed. I said, y'all both need to do yourselves a favor, turn the car back around, go back home, and Keiarna, pack your bags. This man is not interested. He looks so annoyed and so irritated by your very existence. I'll be damned if I'm walking on eggshells with a man. If anything, it needs to be the reverse, where the man is afraid to piss you off. I really hate seeing women being nervous around men. That bothers me to no end. And I was getting more and more annoyed watching Keiarna trying to talk to this man, and he's barely saying 2 words to her. If he wants to sit in silence, we're going to sit in silence. I'll be on my phone scrolling, looking out the window, but I'll be damned if I'm trying to appease him while he's paying me dust. Absolutely not. So they're at the restaurant, and I did not feel any love, romance, chemistry between them. Greg says something like, oh yeah, we met right around here 2 years ago. And Keiarna says, yeah, we've come a long way. So now Greg says, we argue about the same things. And then he says, I feel like since I'm a man and you're a woman, we automatically see things differently. Then he tells Keiarna that she needs to go with the flow sometimes. And now the icing on the cake, this man twists his sour mouth to tell her that she needs to calm the F down sometimes. I said, who are you talking to? Because if I were Keiarna, I would have slapped Greg at that table and I would have walked out and left. Don't you ever talk to me like that. And I'm very big on respect when it comes to men. You will not use profanity to me. And I feel like when a man curses at you, that means that he has no respect for you. There's no love there. I'm sorry, you need to watch your mouth. I know that I talk about how strict I am with friends. I am just as strict, if not stricter, with men. I don't play that. Greg, you would have been slapped talking to me like that. And Keiarna, you're way too nice because you're still trying to beg this man to show you some simple attention, affection, and some care. And he can't even do that because you go on to say, you know, I feel like when I'm around you, I have to shrink myself. And Greg was like, okay, well, you know, that's on you then. I was just like, wait, excuse me? And then when you started getting emotional, your voice started cracking and you were like, yeah, you know, I don't want to cry right now. He didn't want you to cry. I was so over it. I was mad for you because this man is giving you his ass to kiss. And you are over there begging him, grabbing him by his ankles like a pick-me to get him to treat you right. And my heart really broke for you when you said, I just want to feel safe with you. I want to know that you care. And I said, either a man is going to give you that safety and protection and care, or he's not. You cannot beg a man for anything. If he does not want to give it to you, go find somebody who will. Keiarna, once again, when you broke down crying and you were like, I feel like you're dismissive of me, and Greg did not even comfort you. He was staring at you in disgust. And then he was like, well, I'm not dismissive of you. I mean, you know, that's how you feel, but I'm not dismissive of you. I was just like, get up from the table, pack your things, and go. Greg can't even acknowledge how much of an asshole he is to you. I was floored sitting there watching that. And also, Keiarna, do you really want to be with a man that you had to beg? You had to beg him to see you and value you and support you and love you and respect your feelings. You had to beg for a ring. You had to beg for everything. Can you really feel good about that? And I want to shake you because what do you see in him? Please let us know. Like, I'm dying to find out. What is the appeal? Feel free to DM me, email me, just let me know because I am sitting here flabbergasted at how you are begging Greg for crumbs. So now we jump on over to Stacey and she's at Vivian's dress shop. And we all know that Vivian is Karen's friend who has been dying to be a friend of this show all season long. She's been in like every scene with Karen. Well, she was in the first half. But anyhow, I digress. Stacey says that they're meeting at Vivian's dress shop to go over the charity fashion show because they're going to be getting dresses from her shop. But anyhow, Stacey says that she and her daughter Arabella sent out these cute video invitations to everybody, and everybody responded and voiced their excitement except for Karen. So we see the text, and pretty much Karen's like, congratulations on your event, but due to you sticking by Mia's side at Ashley's Drag King event, I won't be here today. So we see Wendy arrive. I thought that Wendy looked really cute. I love the outfit. I said, come through. So now Ashley arrives. And did anybody catch that shade that Wendy gave? She was like, oh, the last time I saw you, you had a dick. I was like, Wendy. I was like, all right. So they're all picking out dresses for the fashion show. And now Stacey shows Wendy, the dog, that she's going to be walking down the runway with. So Ashley wants to know how many people are going to be walking the fashion show. And Stacey says 10 people are going to be walking. And then she brings up how Karen sent her a text saying that she's not going to be participating due to some comments that were made at Ashley's drag show. So Ashley says, well, clearly whatever you said hit a nerve. And now Wendy jumps in and says, well, it might have been what you didn't do. So now Wendy's asking Stacey if Stacey feels like she supports Karen when Karen needs it. So now we cut to Wendy's confessional, and Wendy says, I would expect for Stacey to defend Karen, but instead she ran to coddle Mia, and I understand why Karen does not want to be a part of the fashion show. Now, Wendy, we're going to talk about this later on in the last scene, but if I were you, I would not be going so hard for Karen. So now Giselle arrives and Stacey's like, hey Giselle, we're talking about the event. And Giselle's like, so about that. So now Wendy jumps back in and she says, look, Stacey, Mia was saying some disparaging things about Karen, and you should have had Karen's back and said, don't say those things about my friend. Again, Wendy, you're doing a lot for somebody who did not have your back when folks were getting on you. I'm just saying, Wendy, it's a bit uneven because folks would talk about you like a dog, somebody assaulted you, and Karen sat right there and didn't say a word. So Stacey's defensive and she says, I've stood up for Karen time and time again. So now Giselle says, well, here's another thing, because I was with Karen when you sent out the invitation. And Karen feels a way about you reaching out to Vivian for the charity event because that's Karen's friend, and Karen is the one who introduced all of us to Vivian. So Stacey was like, wait, come again? Because if we're being honest, I've known Vivian longer than I've known Karen, and Vivian is also my friend. So there's that. Karen, you're just being petty because you're mad at Stacey over what happened between you and Mia. You feel like Stacey didn't have your back, so now you want to pick at her. So Stacey's like, it's just funny to me because Mia called Karen a drunk, Keiarna revealed that she's on Ozempic, but yet I reached out to Vivian and now she's dropping out of the fashion show. It feels imbalanced. So Giselle's like, no, it's not that, but I have to be honest, I don't like how you rolled this whole thing out either. You didn't say anything about us having to walk the runway while holding an animal. Then she says, and by the way, I had no idea that you were even into charities like that. So now Wendy starts laughing and Stacey's like, what? So now Giselle says, you didn't donate to mine. And Stacey says, that's because you threw me out. Now, Giselle, let's be so for real. Nobody is going to donate to a charity that you threw them out of. And Giselle talking about we've had 2 G&A events and Stacey hasn't donated 1 dime. I don't know how she sleeps at night. And I said, now Giselle, don't do that because you've lied on people's husbands, iced people out, and a lot of us don't know how you sleep at night, so not too much. But Giselle goes on to say that you don't know, what if I'm allergic to dogs and dogs aren't my thing? And they're all like, girl, if you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. So now we cut to Giselle's confessional and the producer is like, so what was your tragic experience with the dog? And Giselle says that she got bit by a dog and that may or may not be a lie. So we cut to Stacey's confessional and she says, since she stood up for Mia, she feels like she's getting reprimanded by the whole group. And then she says, starting with Karen, and that's not how friends treat each other. So now she points out that Karen wants friends who blindly follow her, and maybe that's not the kind of friend that she wants to be. And we close out the scene with Giselle saying that she'll be there with a check in hand and she'll be on time. So Stacey says, great, and you could sit right next to Karen too. So now we cut to a short scene with Wendy. She's at home on her balcony and Eddie comes out to join her. He's like, babe, how are you? How's your day going? And Wendy says, I feel like I've been in meetings all day. So Wendy says that season 2 of the Dr. Wendy show is upon us. And then she says that it's been 2 years since she started her show. And since she's resigned, she wants to make sure that she's doing meaningful work. Now, Wendy, I say this with love, but it's apparent that you thought that YouTube would be a quick money grab and that you could just jump in, jump out, get a bag and go, and you see that that's not the case. If you go on Dr. Wendy's YouTube page, you see that yes, season 2 came out, but that was 2.5 months ago. And we've only gotten 2 episodes. To say that you left your YouTube channel for dead, that would be an understatement. We saw Eddie cut the check for 50 grand, and I'm thinking, well, what was that for? You spent all that money and you've left your channel for dead. Your YouTube channel has so much potential. And I've said this before. I don't understand why you have not given us any behind the scenes tea after each episode airs. That right there could be a really cool way to get people engaged. When the whole drama happened between you and NECA, you had teased on Twitter that you were going to drop a whole episode on your channel exposing all the lies, breaking down the whole timeline of events, and you never did it. You dropped the ball on the channel, mama. Again, it's no shade. I love you, but if you're going to do it, do it. It's just so funny how these reality girls or celebrities, they'll be looking down their nose at YouTube for them to get on, and then they see, oh damn, it's a lot harder than I thought. And then they quickly abandon shit because their channel's not going anywhere. I'ma just leave it right there. But I feel like a lot of us are on the same page. So Eddie says, I have some great news for you. I just got off the phone with the White House and they want you to come and interview the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. So Wendy is super excited. She's like, oh my gosh, when I think of Karine, I think of Black Girl Magic. I can't wait. So we get to the final scene of the episode and we see Stacey and Mia meeting up for lunch. So Stacey's like, hey girl, how are you? And Mia's like, oh, you know, I have my good days and my bad days, but I take it as it comes. So now she brings up Gordon and how he's been spiraling. And when he starts spiraling, he can't seem to come out of it. I said, if you do not stop villainizing this man, I'm going to scream. So she goes on to say that what happened this past weekend, she's still upset at how Gordon told their personal family business to somebody who's just an acquaintance. And of course, she's talking about G's conversation at lunch the other day with Ray. And I said, now hold on a minute, Mia, because for you to call out Gordon for airing out personal family business, that's a reach, because you've been doing that since you got on this show. If I remember correctly, didn't you out Gordon at the last reunion about how he had prostate cancer and couldn't get it up? I'm pretty sure that Gordon did not want that info out there. So I'm just confused as to how you of all people can twist your mouth to say for him to air out our personal family business. You've been doing that since the beginning. So now Mia says that she's furious at the fact that somebody she considers to be a friend would use this to villainize her. And of course, she's talking about Karen calling her out the other day. But Mia, here's what you failed to get through your pea brain. Nobody's villainizing you. You did that to yourself. You cannot bring your business on a silver platter to everybody in the group and then get mad when folks say, hey, there are holes in your story. This makes no sense. You're lying. And when you found out certain information, why didn't you tell us that? Karen, Giselle, Ashley, everybody has every right, in my opinion, to call you out. Because again, you brought this up to everybody. At every single event, dinner, party, you have been bringing it up about Gordon is this, he's that, he's unstable, he's manic, I'm scared. You've been bringing this to the forefront of the group. So you do not get to now say, oh, well, don't villainize me. Don't weaponize it against me. Don't throw it back in my face. Don't call me out. That's not how this works, Mia. So now Stacey spills some tea and she says, well, before I joined this group, Karen warned me about you and she told me to stay away from you and how you're not Potomac. So Mia's like, oh, really? Well, is it Potomac to get drunk and crash into trees and get multiple DUIs? That's not Potomac, and I've never done that. And I said, listen, although I don't like Mia, I am with you when you're right. Because Karen, getting multiple DUIs at your big age, that's also not Potomac either. And let's not forget, Karen, that season 1, it was all about etiquette and manners, because the show was originally about Jack and Jill moms. The name of the show was supposed to be titled The Potomac Ensemble, but Jack and Jill got word of the show, they sent out a cease and desist letter to Bravo, and that's when Bravo said, well, we have so much footage, we don't want the show to go to waste, let's change it to the Real Housewives franchise. And that's why you guys are now the Real Housewives and not another show. But I digress. But either way, Karen's behavior is definitely not Potomac. But Mia, it still does not take away from the fact that you're not Potomac either. So let's be clear. And if we're being honest, Mia and Karen are pretty much an older and younger version of each other, because Karen lies too. The thing with Karen is she's more charismatic and more likable. That's why a lot of people overlook her lies versus Mia. So here's where things get even juicier. Stacey also shares that Karen also warned her about getting close to Wendy. So Stacey says, girl, Karen told me that Wendy is completely self-absorbed, do not trust her, and she's only out for self. Now, let me stop. This is why I was shaking my head when Wendy was going so hard to defend Karen all throughout this episode. Because not only has Karen not had her back in the past, but I believe every single word of Karen talking badly about Wendy too, Stacey. Let's not forget, Wendy and Karen had a very rocky history. When Wendy joined this show, Karen did not like her. She thought that Wendy was desperate, a wannabe, thirsty, all of the above. Karen even got caught saying that Wendy is not Potomac material. And when the fans blasted Karen for that comment, Karen said, oh no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm sorry. Because what does that mean? That Wendy does not fit into Potomac and she's not Potomac. And the only reason why Karen has become friends with Wendy is because she saw the fans were calling her colorist. And so she said, oh no, I don't want to be lumped into that colorist group with Ashley, Giselle, and Robin. So let me play nice with Wendy. But I've never really believed that Karen truly changed her mind about Wendy. I just feel like she conveniently became friends with Wendy so that way she wouldn't be canceled for being colorist too. And when they played that flashback of Karen, Stacey, and Vivian at Vivian's dress boutique, and Stacey says, but didn't you say that Wendy was trying to poach on the other board investors? And Karen's like, I don't want to say anything, child, but her facial expression gave it away that yes, her and Stacey have been talking about Wendy. So now we cut back to Wendy at home, and she says that she would like to share this special moment at the White House with one of her girlfriends. So Eddie's like, okay, well, who? So Wendy says, I want Karen to join me because it's like a full circle moment. She invited me when she got the key to Surrey County, and I would love for her to come and join me with this because queens recognize queens. And I said, now, isn't that something? Wendy's over there thinking that Karen's her best friend and loves her, and the whole time she's telling Stacey the opposite. So now we cut right back to Mia and Stacey at lunch, and Mia is salivating hearing all this mess. She's like, oh my gosh, does Wendy know about this? And Stacey says no, and the fact that Wendy always takes up for her every time. So Mia says, yeah, one thing about Wendy, she is a girl's girl. And I said, that's right, Mia, you better speak highly of her, because the fact that Wendy talks to you and you guys have a key and go out when you went upside her head 2 years ago, that's past being a girl's girl. So you better sing Wendy's praises. So Stacey also shares that when she first joined this group, Karen was poisoning her mind against Wendy. And then she says, but as I've gotten to know Wendy, I think that she's wonderful. And now Stacey adds that the more she thinks about it, she feels like Karen did this, so that way she'll only be loyal to her. And now we have Mia talking about the truth doesn't expire, and what goes on in the dark comes out in the light, and that's where we end the episode. Now, Mia, the irony of you talking about the truth and what's done in the dark comes to the light. I said, baby, you're not the one to talk. You're the wrong messenger for that, because all you do is lie. So again, not too much. Now, next week is the finale episode. It looks like that fashion show is a hot ass mess with the dogs doing their business all over the runway. I was like, oh my gosh, are we at Bronwyn's house? If you watch SLC, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We do see them airing out Karen talking poorly about Wendy. It looks like Wendy and Eddie leave the fashion show early. So I'm like, damn. But I really hope that we see Wendy go off on Miss Karen Huger, because Karen has not been that great of a friend to Wendy. Wendy has been a better friend to Karen than Karen's been to her. And I'll stand 10 toes down in that all day, every day. But guys, this was a cute episode. I was entertained. It's sad that we're getting all the best episodes at the tail end, because where was this during the middle of this season? But y'all, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all later. Bye.